Gentlemen, it seems that Egypt has been unresponsive to our methods of changing its society. So far, two of its leaders have attempted to reform the society by improving the democratic process and reducing poverty and gender inequality have been met with the force of arms. However, we will not give up on this country. We will attempt to improve it for the better. This is democracy, and this time the people have spoken. Egypt will be brought back to power, but we'll have to use the final solution. Is it working? Okay, hi guys, and welcome back to some more democracy-free Africa. I have to admit, Egypt is way harder than I initially expected. I've been playing it for a couple of times so far, and every time I've done it, I have failed miserably, ended up in the dramatic assassination despite my best attempts to reform its society. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload that video. I have already recorded it and uploaded it. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it public. But hell, I'm not going to give up on Egypt, even though I'll have to use the most inhumane and extreme means to reform its society. We're going to try once again, and this time we're going to work it out. The People's Revolutionary Democratic Front is coming back. Alright. The situation is absolutely terrible, but we are not going to give up on it, and we are going to improve the society by any means necessary. And this time I am serious. In order to improve it, we will no longer be able to use any form of democratic process. We will be forced to use it to improve the society through sheer force of dictatorship, and we're going to use that to our advantage. First off, we're going to increase our executive term length to 7 years in order to allow us to have enough time to fix the society and all its problems by the end of it. Second off, we're going to have to implement the flat income tax, as unpopular as it is, in order to make sure that we have enough money to cover for the massive expenses that we'll have to do while we do this. This will be tough, but we are going to do it. And with the last few points, we're just going to implement a simple telecommuting initiatives and the Gender Discrimination Act with positive action, and we're going to end the turn. Credit rating has been upgraded, excellent, and now here comes the tough measures. Measures that I've never thought of implemented. Police force medium, intelligence services to maximum. These are okay so far, however we're going to go way further than this. Extensive rehabilitation. Torture usage, maximum. Wiretapping, universal monitoring of all conversations. Armed police. Police will now be armed. Every police officer will now be armed with submachine guns. What else do we have that we can further raise up? ID cards, that's expensive, and detention without trial as well, but they will be next. With a few remaining points, we will implement community policing, as it is a very popular measure. It does help out on the long term, as well as the Race Discrimination Act. And furthermore, we could also implement technology grants, as they will help us on the long term to further improve our society. Moving on, we're going to leave this law unchanged, but we will need to improve even more restrictive means. Detention without trial is now unlimited. Every man that is found and is suspected about being guilty can be held for as long as possible. CCTV cameras are going to be implemented with face recognition systems. We're also going to implement the agricultural land tenure, and if we have enough money for it, enough political capital, the agro dealer networks to improve our agricultural efficiency. We are also going to enforce the female genitalia mutilation ban, and hopefully that will get rid of that huge issue that plagues our society. Federated further upgraded, but the opposition members stage a walkout. We are not going to be concerned by that. We have bigger issues to work with. We are further going to implement... yes, I remember. ID cards are going to be heavily enforced. You must have an ID card with you at all times, and the police have all rights to request for it. We're going to implement tasers that are going to become ubiquitous to be used by law enforcement, and police drones, which are going to be used towards the maximum. Moving on to the next turn, children's food, we're going to regulate them in order to contain the obesity problems. And finally, we're going to implement a harsh curfew from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. No human being is allowed on the streets of Egypt. Going to implement the anti-corruption agency, and with the final points of fuel efficiency standards to the maximum. Next, we're going to join the non-aligned movement. And now, moving on with the points that we have. All these measures should have our security effectiveness to be to the maximum. They are going to take some time to implement. Hopefully they will be ready by the time the terrorists that will try to depose me from power will arrive. But we have no other choice. Next up, we're going to implement the open government, the government code of conduct and the open plan government offices to tackle on corruption. Furthermore, we are going to implement rural development grants, help with our agricultural efficiency. Clean energy subsidies will both help with multiple things such as environment, but also with power, our power blackouts and poor infrastructure. We're going to raise our science funding to the maximum, as well as our, where was it? I keep forgetting every single time. University grants, generous grants for all the students in order to tackle the skill shortage. Speaking of grants, free school meals are going to be implemented and available for everyone, as well as free eye tests. Next up, moving along, an airplane has crashed, but it's nothing that we can do about it. We need to keep on moving forward. Adult education subsidies are extremely useful to get rid of the skill shortages, further improve education. Technology colleges will help furthermore. Public libraries are excellent to improve education and allow easy access to information. Youth club subsidies will help with our keep our youth protected. Then we're going to go ahead and implement clean energy subsidies and bus law subsidies in order to further improve the infrastructure of our cities. Health food subsidies will help with our health and with the obesity problem that we have. Liberals are already plotting against us, but we have already gotten rid of the civil uprising problem. We're going to allow genetically modified crops. How's our security effectiveness? It's adequate. Hopefully it will be enough. I don't know. It is a very tough situation, and it's the only way you can do it. You just have to hope that you survive the assassination attempts, and then, only then, you are able to improve the society to however you want. Small business grants, they are going to be implemented in order to help with our economy. Same with a welfare fraud department will be pretty useful. We're also going to implement gender representation measures to help equally represent females in our society. We're also going to implement family planning, helps out a lot. And bus lanes in order to improve our infrastructure. This should slowly be going up. It will take a long time, but it will go up. And now don't die. And now the feminists are plotting against us. Going to pick up the international figure, and we are going to go ahead and expand with major new roads and highways. The music has stopped, but the security effectiveness is effective, so we should be able to survive any attempts of direct assassination for the most part. To further improve our infrastructure, we're going to implement a national monorail system. And furthermore, we're going to go ahead and implement a recycling program with universal doorstep collection, a food standards agency, regulate our food and prevent obesity, and a plastic bag tax. Just a punitive tax to make environmentalists happier. Alright, we seem to see that opposition members are persecuted, which does not help with democracy and with our stability, but unfortunately right now we can't really do much about this. Our security effectiveness is high, so right now we should be in a good position to defend ourselves against assassination attempts. Hopefully we're going to implement a national program for natural conservation or God damn it, I can't speak. This is really hard to deal with, and I'm sitting every moment hoping that I'll not be assassinated. Alright, we have just managed to barely escape a failed assassination attempt from the Matriarchs of Justice, and we already have our first unhappy minister, and unfortunately our oil wealth has finally depleted. But that's nothing that we can be concerned of right now. We are going to implement student laptops in order to further increase education. It takes so long to get rid of these problems. How's our ministry right now? We will need to reshuffle it to secure a better organization over here. We are going to implement, I think I saw it before. Goddamn, it's really expensive, the inheritance tax. Okay, well then we're just going to implement an enterprisement investment scheme and skip another turn. There's another liberal plot, but no assassination attempt. We're going to allow oil drilling to maintain our oil reserves. And we're going to implement the inheritance tax in order to further secure our income, which has been suffering a little bit considering the huge amount of spending that we've been doing. The liberals keep plotting against us, political relationship downgraded. That's unfortunate, but we have gotten rid of skill shortage, homelessness, religious persecutions, and we have developed a technological advantage. These are all fantastically good measures, and I'm very happy to hear them. We're going to raise our labor laws to be more balanced. We are also going to go ahead and raise the maternity leave to a 3/4 pay. And then with the remaining points, we are going to reshuffle our cabinet. Right. Women and liberals. Unfortunately, I cannot hire him right now, but it will be possible later on. Trade unionists and parents, not so much. Foreign policy, foreign policy. This is like the hardest part, like hiring a decent cabinet. It's gonna be hard. Trade unionists and socialists, you're up to the task. Welfare. This is not very good. Liberals and patriots will not work. Religious and socialists will not work. Youth and trade unionists, no. God damn, this is hard. Welfare, patriots and self-employed. Not really. We will have to hire someone though. And he'll not be very happy with us. Environmentalist and youth, there you go, this works a little bit better. On economy, we're going to hire, I think dude can handle up pretty well. On tax, we are going to hire, I don't know, environmentalist and poor, there you go. Public services, well, we will need someone for this job as well, unfortunately, so it will have to be someone good for public services. Trade unionists and patriots, not really. Public services, ethnic minorities, women, not so much either. The really big problem is our instability, which is why we're having so many problems with assassination and stuff. Okay, public service is back. Alright, alright. We will need to hire someone, unfortunately, even though they will not be very happy with us. Going to go with this guy. He'll probably resign, but we cannot have anyone else, unfortunately. On law and order, we're going to hire... Trade unionists and patriots, religious and parents. That is not very useful. Liberals and patriots, not so much either. This is really bad. We will need to do another reshuffle pretty soon, but we'll have to deal with it then. Right now we just need to have a proper cabinet, at least for a little while. Patriots and self-employed might work. What else do we have? Conservatives and capitalists. Okay, we'll go with this guy then. Next turn. Another liberal plot, but we got rid of pollution, obesity, poor transport links, and power blackouts at the same time, and have managed to develop a stock exchange. We're going to accept the offer to build a national monument for our trade partner. We're going to implement retina scans on our border controls. What else can we do? We can, what else we can do is we can also, where was it? The alcohol law. There it is. We can reduce alcohol law and therefore increase the tax and ensure that we have even more money for it. Alcohol consumption has been really going down recently. We can implement gambling, however with some limits. Do we have any other points left? We can implement a pollution control system. Will affect our economy, that I think it's good enough. The liberals keep plotting, but we have managed to get rid of foreign intelligence interference. We're going to allow the people who were smuggled in to stay and not shun them away. Organic farming subsidy seems like a good idea. We are also going to implement art subsidies, and with the remaining points, hybrid cars initiative is a good idea, as well as free bus passes and probably car emission limits as well. There you go. All this help out a lot with the environment. Opposition form a coalition against us, which are reducing our dictatorship power. But we cannot really be bothered by that right now. We have all these measures which are working towards us. Corruption has been entirely dealt with, and that is exceptionally wonderful. Let's increase our military spending a little bit, even though it will raise our military interference in the government, but it's so likely to make our patriots happier, as we will implement a foreign aid system in order to increase our foreign relations. Uncompetitive economy is unfortunately going up. Have had some productivity issues. This is going down, but it will require even more adjustment from us. How is education? Yes, it is going up slowly and steadily. Speaking of which, we are also going to implement an expensive and extensive healthcare system. We got rid of asthma epidemic. We're going to allow internet tracking for now, and we still have a surplus, which is excellent. Have we implemented technology grants? Yes, we have. Very well then. If we have the money, then we are going to go ahead and implement the Egyptian space program. Whew, this will take a long while to make happen. We're also going to legalize prostitution and implement intellectual property rights. And with the music coming up, we can see that things are going for the better. We're going to prevent the DNA database, as the situation is now slowly starting to get better. It's very hard, man. It's a little bit of luck at the first at the beginning with the first few assassination attempts. You can still fail it, you know, because there is a chance, even though you have like the most effective security system, there is still a small chance that you can get assassinated, you know. So it can happen, but once once you get rid of the first few assassination attempts, then you should be good to go. Stem cell research is an exceptionally good measure to implement, especially early on. Opposition boycott election. Well, that's unfortunate, but you have developed residential credit facilities. And there is a long time till the election, so I don't see how that is a problem. We're going to implement the foreign language curriculum. And we still have a surplus. How about that? What else can we do over here? Speed cameras sounds like a good idea. Transports, nothing else that we can do around here and there. How is gender inequality going? It's dropping a lot. So we are doing great. We have unlocked the green utopia. We're going to build a new relationship and forget about our former ally. Speaking of which, we are also going to go ahead and legalize drugs, and the reason for that is that we will implement a drug tax. Speaking of drug tax, alcohol consumption is going up, but we can raise the tax whenever we need it. Recreational drug tax will help contain that, and game restrictions will be very good to further improve the environment. We are doing excellent. Unexpected close election. The opposition have gained more support than expected in the last election, rather than risk their leader becoming more popular and a threat to our political dominance. The reason can be found to have him arrested. We will let democracy take its course. They have not won, so I am happy with how things are going. Still have 8 turns of our long-term limit. We are going to raise the abortion law to do 2 doctors' approval in order to further improve the situation on the gender inequality. Opposition member persecuted, and we have another minister who's unhappy. The one with liberals and patriots. That was expected, and unfortunately we cannot really do anything about it. Religious people membership is slowly going down. Human development. What's this? The human development in our country is huge. However, this does increase religious membership, interestingly enough. I did not know that. Weird enough, but we are going to go ahead and implement evolution-only teaching methods in our country. And we're also going to implement a jury trial. Universal jury trial, even though we have so many abuses of all forms of law and order. We have a transshipment hub. Oh, that's because of the Suez Canal, which further increase our GDP. That is excellent. Our surplus is gigantic and we have huge reserves, so we can cut down on our taxes a little bit. On the flat income tax, we can cut it down to a more reasonable 40%. Speaking of which, we can implement a human rights oversight, as we will slowly, once we get re-elected, we will remove all the dictatorship policies and re-implement the democratic process. Minority representation measures are going to be also implemented. How's military interference? It is dropping down. Uncompetitive economy is slow, is not doing much right now. Productivity is pretty bogged down by unemployment and alcohol consumption. Alright. Well, I think it's just in time for the alcohol tax to go up. Alright, moving on. Border tensions are now at an end. We are going to agree with the foreign liberation movements. And we still have a fantastic surplus, which is awesome. Right, we're not going to do much right now. State housing is an excellent measure to implement to get rid of the potential overcrowding problem. Female genitalia mutilation is almost to 0, although you cannot actually like really get rid of the condition. That's like, I feel like they have sort of exaggerated with it. Have earned the Nobel Prize. I mean, I understand it's a deep-rooted issue and it will take a long time to get rid of, but I do think that it is possible to get rid of. Right now we have reached the maximum minimum of it, and it literally has no more effects. It's unfortunate that it still appears as an issue, but as an effect we have managed to completely get rid of it. This is rather unfortunate. Uncompetitive economy. Unemployment is like really... It's low. Why is that reducing productivity? I don't get it, but I know something that increases productivity, and that is childcare provision. Excellent. What else we can do? Well, there's not much else that we can do at this point. We're going to reject the law on landmine ban. Liberals and patriots, you'll just have to wait because we will improve this very shortly. How is our democracy rating doing? It is very low. Let's raise the freedom of thought and association to high. And let's also provide equal rights for sexual minorities. We're going to allow the retail merger. Look at our condition. Look at how well we're doing. This is amazing. And the music is just nice, you know. It is pretty nice. Biofuel subsidies sounds like a swell idea. Speaking of economy, is there anything else? There's not much else that we have to do over here. We're going to go on next turn. Law and Order Minister has unfortunately resigned, and another coalition from the opposition, reducing our dictatorship power to almost to a minimum. But that's okay, because we will change things. We need to hire a new Law and Order Minister. And that will be Youth and Capitalists, not really. Religious and Parents, Trade Unionists and Patriots. I guess this one will have to work with it. Trade Unionists are not very happy, but we will improve their condition very shortly. And I think next turn we have our first election, which we are going to win without any single problem. Obtaining 96% of the vote. Elder Statesman. We have... Oh my god, we have just developed internet crime because of how good our technology is. And intelligence service just not good enough to keep it under control. We're going to integrate the new citizens. That is rather annoying. But now that we have just been re-elected, we can reduce the executive term length. Where was it? Over here, to back to 4 years. We can implement... We can start retracting all the harsh measures. We can cancel corporal punishment use. What else can we get over here done? We can raise the rights for demonstration to heavy high. Moving on. High productivity has developed. We are going to allow exporting of animals. Really concerned about that. We have high productivity and uncompetitive economy is still not out. So annoying. We will need to implement, I think, internet censorship in order to get rid of the problem with internet crime, but that will have to wait a little bit. Speaking of which, we can now get rid of curfews entirely. We can also get rid of torture usage by the secret services. All these measures should allow us to prove our conditions. We can... God damn, these are so expensive. Let's keep on moving then. A market meltdown is unfortunate, but it did get rid of uncompetitive economy and our GDP is at maximum. Let's go ahead and implement an internet censorship, blocking some sites. It is just a temporary measure. Speaking of which, we are going to... what else can we do over here? Wiretapping, we're going to lower it to be with judicial order. And we can implement the Freedom of Information Act. Moving on, we're going to allow airport expansion plans. Liberals are really unhappy because of the internet censorship, and understandably so. But we can't really do much about it right now. Military spending, and stability, which is at a maximum. We will have to reduce military spending just a little bit until we get rid of military interference, and then we're going to raise it back up. We are going to allow same-sex marriage, and look at this, we have 100% of the vote yet again. We are going to allow legislative independence. Ah, goddamn, I don't have enough points. Man, it's costing a lot of points to get all these measures. Foreign competitor underpricing. That's really unfortunate, but it's none of our concerns. We are in the best condition that we could possibly be. So let us do this. Legislative independence, it has been implemented. What other measures we can get rid of? Police drones are no longer necessary, so we are going to cancel their usage. CCTV cameras are going to be the next on my list. Software patents, we are going to allow it. There we go. The liberals are very happy. Let's get rid of this. Where was it? ID cards, that's as well. Death penalty, that is very expensive, but I want to get rid of that as well. I think even more than anything else. Positive action, we're going to reject this law for now. 52 points. It's so annoying, I'm so close towards getting this going. Right, I have it's just because I have a minister that is not willing to do much. Okay, let us then, where was it? Keep forgetting, man, there's like so many things that I need to do. Judicial independence, there you go, we can go and implement that to the maximum. And where was this one? The other one, keep forgetting, freedom of press, we're going to also implement it towards maximum. Leader dies suddenly. Oh, that's so sad. You and interim leader have been put in place until election can be held. So the previous me has died, and now we have an interim leader, which will continue the legacy that has been left. Internet crime has been taken care of. So we should get rid of our internet censorship program. Until then, though, we need to get rid of the CCTV cameras. Keep on moving. We are going to have no change on the animal testing. We are not getting too many points. And I know exactly why, because we are no longer a dictatorship. All these points have given us a true democracy, and now we can no longer have enough points to implement the measures that we desire. We are going to send in the troops to safeguard our oil supplies. Military interference, man, takes so long to get rid of. 53 points, and the next turn we are going to have 54. Military interference is at the end, market meltdown, but I don't care about that. Can finally get rid of death penalty in Egypt. Very expensive measure, but it's a measure that we wanted to implement since the very beginning. What else we can do? We can get rid of the mandatory heavily enforced ID cards. We can rural access law. Yeah, we can support it. Don't see much problem with that. We can reduce internet censorship to like in extreme cases only. Should be good enough. And there's another thing that I want to get rid of, and that is the unlimited detention without trial. Minister scandal, but I don't really care about that. So yeah, our situation is way better now. Our security effectiveness is still adequate. And there's one more thing that we need to get rid of, and that is the armed police, which we will do exactly next turn. We are going to subsidize fuel because of the oil price spike. We are going to get rid of armed police entirely. We are still going to keep tasers around because those are reasonable enough, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We can now put back our military spending that we have gotten rid of military interference. And except for this measure, which no longer, except for this effect, which no longer has any negative effect, we only have green effects and everything else is good and dandy. And now the final election is going to happen. And it's going to be beautiful. This is it. We have received 100% of the vote, and we have retired in glory by completely and entirely fixing the problems of Egypt. It has been a long and amazing journey, but it has been done, and I'm very happy that it has ended that way. So yeah, this has been pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Leave a like and a favorite as always, helps out a lot, and I'll see you next time with however I'm going to make. Bye bye.